Okay, so hello everyone, and dear authors and invited guests, welcome to technical session 5D. My name is Dimahi Patel, and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 10th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, London, United Kingdom. The 10th edition of this conference is being organized in hybrid mode. The physical event was held yesterday in London, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 19 to 21st February 25. I hope you will enjoy this knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentations and 3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we start the session, I would like to introduce you all to the chair of this session. We have with us Dr. Rafat Samrin. Dr. Rafat Samrin is working as an assistant professor at Department of Computer Science at College of Computer Science, King Khalid University, Asir Aba, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She has 15 years of experience in teaching, and her research interests include information security, network security, big data analytics, cybersecurity, data mining, and Internet of Things. Rafat ma'am, if you have any opening remark for the presentees, please let us know.
Okay, thank you for giving such a nice introduction. I just I would like to thank you for you. You are giving the chance to for the session chair for this conference, and I would like to extend my um, thank you to the organizing team and all the best for all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we also have with us Dr. Dalia Ahmed Magdi Hassan as our session chair. She is an associate professor at CIC, Canadian International College, Egypt. She was head of Information System Department in the French University in Egypt, and she is co-director of the CRI Research Lab and associate professor of Management Information System. Dalia, ma'am?
Dimai, she's joining us within 5 minutes. Facing some technical issue right now. So
Okay. She'll be here with us within 5 minutes. So I believe we can start with the presentation still then, or shall we wait for her?
we can proceed for the presentation time till then.
All right. So first up, we have Vivian Moya presenting her study on bridging simulation and reality, a digital twin approach for UAVs. Vivian, if you're here, please share your screen and start with the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if you can see the screenshot, the screen.
Yes, we're able to see it.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone, or afternoon or night, I don't know. I am presenting from Ecuador, so here is good, is in the morning. I will present this paper titled Bridging Simulation and Reality, a Digital Twin Approach for UAVs. The author of this paper are Brian Guevara, José Parrel Aldaz, Viviana Moya, Daniel Gandolfo, and Juan Toibeiro. Okay, this work explores how digital twin bridge the gap between simulation and reality in unmanned aerial vehicles or UAVs, ensuring a robust and precise integration that facilitates safe operations. These diagrams illustrate the control architecture of this paper, used for developing and validating UAVs controllers. This is organized in 3 main subsystems. We have the first one, the high-level control subsystem, the real drone subsystem, and the digital twin subsystem. The high-level control subsystem includes the advanced robot controller, which processes information about the UAV's position and orientation, received via robotic operating system, and generates commands sent to the drone or the simulator. In the digital twin subsystem, we use a nominal UAVs model and advanced simulator, such as DJI Assistant 2, to replicate real flight conditions. This tool allows to evaluate performance before implementing the controller on the physical drone. Finally, we have the real drone subsystem. The physical UAV executes the controller and collects experimental data. Here, the control authority manages whether the commands come from manual control or DJI SDK for automated control, enabling a smooth transition during testing. And onboard computer process and executes the command in real time. So this is the general framework for the implementation methodology. This is the quadcopter used for the experiments. And the mathematical model is the core of our methodology. It describes how the UAV moves in space and how its velocity changes based on its internal dynamics and environment. We simplify the kinematic model by excluding roll and pitch angles, as these are stabilized automatically by a low-level controller, allowing us to focus on horizontal motion control. Therefore, the minimal representation of position orientation is defined as this vector that we have a x, y, zeta, and just one yaw angle. And the general diagram of the UV is this one. The temporal evolution of is this matrix that we can expand of the first equation, and the compound formulation can be defined using the following equation. This represents the velocity with respect to the inertial frame is equal to the Jacobian matrix times the linear and angular velocities. Of course, the dynamic model captures the UAV's velocity change. Consider factors such as inertia. To ensure accuracy, we calibrate the model with experimental data, making the simulation closely reflect real-world behavior. Therefore, the mathematical model is based on the mathematical structure obtained by the Euler-Lagrange formulation, and this we have the second equation. The second equation represents the first one variable m is the inertia matrix. B dot are the angular and linear velocities, C Coriolis matrix, and U correspond to the vector of applied velocities. Additionally, we have epsilon, 19 parameters, is the vector of dynamic parameters, and A and B are the displacements of the point of interest measured from the center of the gravity. We have a previous study of this formulation in this paper. If you want, you can see, you can check. We can expand the second equation using this matrix. This is a more complex or more precise equation. And in this slide, we can see the mathematical user for dynamic model identification using a linear parametric representation. The parameter epsilon, or the vector epsilon, is estimated using the least squares approach. And an optimization problem is formulated to minimize the error between the reference and the model output over time. And we have also another matrix, if you can see in the paper. This is a more complex and extent of this previous one. The dynamics parameters are displayed in table 1, were identified using an optimization technique during a real-world experimentation flight. So, once the unknown dynamic parameters are identified, the dynamic model of the quadcopter is characterized in terms of velocity as a vector function present as follows. The goal of this work is to solve the trajectory following problem. We evaluate 3 controllers. The first one is a purely kinematic controller, the second one is a dynamic compensation, and the third one is the model predicted controller. But first we need to define what is the desired trajectory. We design this trajectory that we have in this part. And also, this is the objective of control, the control action you reference, such as it satisfies that the limit when t tend to infinite, the errors are equal to 0. So as I said previously, we have 3 controllers. The first one is a kinematic law. This calculates the necessary velocities The second one is the dynamic compensation law. We have all this mathematic part. This incorporates the dynamic model for more precise adjustment. And we have the model predictive controller, which optimize the UAV's decision by predicting future behavior and according for constraints. So in this one, we have the sequence of control inputs that drives trajectory tracking is formulated as an optimal control problem of OCP, and we have the mathematical using in this part. With this part, we have the system dynamics represented by the state matrix A and B. Okay, so with a mathematical, we create the experimental part. We have simulation and real experiments. First, with a kinematic controller, we observe the UAV following the defined trajectory in the simulation experimental part. In this part, we can see that how it is working, that the three subsystems that we have previously, model in the loop, hardware in the loop, and the real one is this one. Also, in this part, we can see in real time how it is working the root mean square error in the velocity and also in the position part. Okay, the comparison between real and simulate results shows consistency, although errors arise in more complex conditions. So we can see that we have errors in this first controller. So we prove another one. This is the dynamic compensation controller. And you can see the results of this one in the simulation part and in the real part. It's better than previous one, but also we have errors. This UV adjusts better to external disturbance. The graphs show a trajectory closer to the desired path, both in simulation and real experiment. Okay. Finally, the MPC achieves optimal performance. Also, we have in the model in the loop, hardware in the loop, the real one. This is the simulation part. We can see that we can achieve optimal performance, anticipate deviation, and significantly reducing errors. It is more closer to the desired trajectory. And this is the real part. A graphical comparison demonstrates greater precision in trajectory following, highlight the controller's ability to adapt the real-time change. These experiments were done in San Juan, Argentina. And conclusions. The integration of advanced sensing technologies and the implementation of a communication channel based on ROS has significantly improved the UAV's capabilities. The development and validation of the simulation model have contributed to enhancing operational safety in real environments. The implementation methodology, along with the simulation models, has proven to be crucial in the transition between the simulation and the real experimentation phases in critical subsystems such as UAVs. A real-world implementation presents additional change due to the factors such as external disturbance and modeling errors. And finally, it is essential to calibrate and verify the values provided by the sensors to ensure the accurate measurements and precise data interpretations. Thank you so much for your attention. This is our presentation. Maybe do you have any questions about this topic?
Yes, dear. Yes. I'm having one question, right? Yeah. Here in your first slide, you told that you are going to use the framework, right? Here you are using one MIL framework and HIL framework. Is it right?
Yes.
Yes. Then why you have using different frameworks? What is the need?
I'm sorry, I have a mistake with my audio. We use a different frameworks because we want to prove different aspect of these experiments. So first, in the first part, we in the physical and also in the model in the loop and hardware in the loop, we I can say oh, how can I say this is the important part that our directors teach us, that we can prove the difference between these simulations and also with a real part, that using different frameworks we can check the difference between the real disturbance with a simulated disturbance that we can have in the both environment.
See, if you are going to check the difference between the simulations, right? You are going to
Mhm.
apply various types of simulation techniques. Is it right? Instead of
Like,
using various types of simulation techniques, you are using different types of frameworks. What is the need?
can you repeat, please?
Yeah. You told that for the simulation, for different types of simulation, you are saying like that, na? You are using different types of frameworks, right? But if you want to get different types of frameworks for different types of simulation techniques, you can use various types of. We are having different types of simulation techniques are there. You can use the simulation techniques for that one. Instead of using simulation techniques, why you are using this different types of frameworks? What is the need?
Um, I didn't use different so many simulations. I just one the digital twin simulation, and another one it
Okay.
was the real drone, and we proved that if one can switch the simulation with a digital twin, what is the difference between the with the real drone? What is the difference in the behavior of both? Because right now we are doing everything with digital twins. So for us, it's most important that we can prove the controller in the digital simulation, in the simulation part, and also with the same control action, with the same trajectory, with the same condition, we can prove in the real part, yeah, it is working. So for the reason, just one simulation.
Great. Thank you.
Um, Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. Now, if we have no more questions further, can we move to the next presentation?
Yes,
Yes,
dear.
Dimai.
Okay, so next up we have Audriane Gunawan presenting her study on exploring usability of AI Budur, a study with Gen Z users. Audriane, are you present here?
Yes.
Okay, I would request you to share your screen and start with your presentation, please.
Okay. Uh, is my screen there? Hello?
Yes, you are visible.
Yeah, but I cannot share my screen because, yeah, okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Adrian Gunawan from Bina Bangsa School, Semarang, Indonesia. And today I will be presenting my paper that I work on with my mentors Restianito and Denny Sebastian on exploring usability of AR Budur, a study with Gen Z users. So first of all, I will introduce Borobudur Temple. So Borobudur Temple is one of the largest Buddhist temples in the world located in Central Java, Indonesia, and it has a very high number of visitors. For example, in 2022, it has 1.33 million visitors, and in pre-pandemic, it has the highest number of tourists in Central Java, which was 3.99 million visitors. Other than that, Borobudur Temple in tourism in Indonesia's tourism industry contributes to 3.75% to Indonesia's GDP, which is valuing at 6 billion USD, and at the same time employing 45 million people. Other than that, Borobudur Temple area itself extends over 85 hectares. Hence, this large area makes it very difficult to navigate through it. Other than the large area itself, there are other issues in Borobudur Temple. First of all, there's the traditional map lacks details and interactivity, and the tour guides can be expensive. Physical maps are also inaccurate, limited, and throughout the complex, and some of them are low quality. Other than that, existing digital maps online are poor quality and impractical. So now moving on to my introduction on Generation Z. So Gen Z are individuals who are born between mid-1990s and early 2010s. And they grew up with internet and technology, making them a tech-savvy generation, and they often prefer personalized and interactive experiences. Other than that, they also prefer modern attractions compared to traditional cultural sites. For example, theme parks, adventure spots, or scenic places like the beach. And in Indonesia right now, there are 71 million Gen Zs. So moving on to AR Budur. So AR Budur is an application which is an augmented reality navigation application for the Borobudur Temple area. And we conducted a usability test which will be discussed in this paper to evaluate the functionality of AR Budur. And it ensures satisfactory user experience as well as identify areas and issues. The use of technology is also used to make cultural sites more appealing towards Gen Z. And how so? This is because it becomes more it is functional, it is engaging, as it is interactive. So to the method, I'm going to discuss the AR Budur application itself. So again, it's an augmented reality navigation within the Borobudur complex, and it is Android-based, and it is created using the Unity framework and open source libraries. And the way we do this is by charting roads into the routes using 2D maps provided by the officials, which was from the Taman Wisata Candi Borobudur and the Borobudur Temple Conservation Center, which operates under the Directorate General of Culture. And basically, we just use routes onto the map. Like in this program, you can see figure 3 at the bottom there. And we have 18 points of interest as destination points. For example, like the entrance gate, ticketing booth, toilets, the main Borobudur temple itself, and other attractions such as museums and restaurants and shops. So moving on, I will be discussing the system usability scale that we use to analyze the usability test of this application. So this is a tool used to measure the usability of a system. So in this tool, we have 10 questionnaires using a 5-point Likert scale. So it's on a scale of 1 to 5, and it helps identify usability issues and user satisfactions. So for this questionnaire, we had 15 Gen Z respondents, and basically how we calculate the final score from the results of this questionnaire is that we subtract one from the user response of odd numbered questions, and these odd number questions are positive questions. So for example, like I think I will use this AR Budur application again. So and then the second one is we subtract the response from 5 for even numbered question, and these questions are negative questions. So for example, like in my opinion, the AR Budur system is too complicated to use. And from this, we sum up all the values for all the questions and we multiply the total by 2.5. And if the score is more than 68, it indicates that the app has good usability. Moving on, we also did a preliminary study, which was a questionnaire on Gen Z's interest in tourist attractions. So for the respondents' demography, they were mostly female and they were mostly high school and undergraduate students. Most of them also use Android phones and they often prefer larger screen size as well as they spend 3 to 8 hours on their phones every day. So from the results here, we can see that the majority of people relies on Google Maps for navigation. And other than that, some of them also ask locals. And many also consider tour guides as essential while visiting like cultural objects. And the features they prefer in a navigation application are mostly street view, directions, and real-time updates. All of these data can be seen on the bar charts on the right. So moving on back to the usability analysis, these are the results from the questionnaire before. So again, we had 15 respondents and we had to exclude one respondent, which is the sixth respondent, because this person answered not properly as the answers are like inconsistent. Since we made the questions like positive and negative, we can detect whether a person is just answering like in the middle of everything. And this was identified as the questions are like put in positive and negative. And after calculating the SAS score, we got a final score of 70.357, which shows that it is above average, but there is still some room for improvements. We also have some questionnaire for some qualitative feedback. So the first one was that there was an elevation difference in the 3D map and actual location. This was due to the 2D map provided to us, and we didn't have any 3D map. The developers then fixed this problem. And another feedback was that there could be some further development to display information about the temple's reliefs. We also have other references that shows that Gen Z actually prefers AR navigation as they are dynamic, they are real-time, they are digital, immersive, interactive, visually engaging, and Gen Z also values technology and they value things like geographic information systems. Moving on to the conclusion, based on our preliminary study, we realized that Gen Z are tech-savvy and socially active group. Therefore, they are ideal candidates of the AR Budur application. They often prefer larger screen sizes and have a high daily smartphone usage, which was 3 to 8 hours before. And the navigation and usability preferences of Gen Z highlights the importance of combining digital tools with human assistance for accurate navigation. So from this usability test, we figured that AR Budur features meets the need of the navigation app of Gen Z users as they provide street view, directional guidance, and real-time updates. Other than that, the usability testing shows a SAS score of 70.357, which indicates above average, but there is still room for improvement. And these improvements come from the qualitative feedback, which are the issues in elevation that we fixed already, as well as suggestions for further development to add information for the Borobudur Temple's reliefs. It also shows the potential of AR Budur and identify areas of improvement. Thank you. So are there any questions?
Yes, dear. Yeah, your presentation is nice. Uh, just I didn't understand that you are developing one navigation app. Is it right?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Then if you're going to developing a navigation app, why it is related to generation Gen Zs?
Because as mentioned before, the younger generation, they often prefer like modern tourist attractions, and we want to like help the Borobudur community as well as the economy and promote tourism to promote like traditional tourism to the younger generation and as well as promote culture to them.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing. See, already we are having the Google Map, right?
Yeah.
What is the difference between your application and the Google Map? What are the main features? What is the difference of main
Um,
features of?
So far our application is fully offline, and for the point of interest, we are using QR codes. As well, I think another difference is our further development. We want to add like information about the temples, like reliefs and things.
In Google, in this one also, in Google Map also we can find, na? Then what is the
Google Map don't
difference?
have this. So what we plan to do is like if we scan like a relief on the like temple, it can like display information about its history and other things.
Okay, okay. Okay, right. And for your system scalability scale, system stability scale, some the SUS is there, na? For the
Yeah,
calculation of SUS, you're using only 10 questions, right? Is
yeah.
it enough to scale 10 questions?
Um, well, yes, I think it's enough. And like
No,
the questions
no,
are
no, no.
really detailed. Yeah.
See, 10 questions are not enough for judging any the scalability. Yeah, if at least you have to be the at least 50 to 60 questions, at least not 10. If you're going to use only 10 questions, then it is very difficult to find out the variance like that. Try to improve more questions, try to add more questions for get the better scalability. Okay, dear?
Okay, thank you for the suggestion. We will do that in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Audrian, for your presentation. Now, next up, we have Kunihiko Takamatsu presenting a study on information and communication technology and data driven approaches for midterm plans, development of strategic management framework in higher education.
Share my screen.
No, sir, we cannot see your screen at the moment. Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Good morning, or hello, or good evening, everyone. My name is Kunihiko Takamatsu. I belong to Institute of Science Tokyo. Today's my title is Information and Communication Technology, ICT, and Data-Driven Approaches for Midterm Plans, Development of Strategic Management Framework in Higher Education. Today, we have three topics. Introduction and research question. This slide shows the recent key terms in higher education: ICT, EBE, IR, LA, and DX. This slide shows the Society 5.0. Society 5.0 is a concept for the future society. The Japanese Cabinet Office defines Society 5.0 as follows. It refers to Society 1.0 as a hunting society, Society 2.0 as the agricultural society, Society 3.0 as the industrial society, Society 4.0 as information society, and Society 5.0 is the future, new society. In the era of Society 5.0, education is not the same as society from 1.0 to 4.0. For example, the OECD has proposed competency-based education, distinguishing between technical and core competencies. The OECD defines core competencies as delivery-related cluster, interpersonal cluster, and strategic cluster. Therefore, education in the 21st century includes both simple knowledge, the use of knowledge, and how to create new knowledge. Recently, we proposed new field in informatics. Edu-informatics is the word combination between education and informatics. This figure shows the concept of edu-informatics. The field of education provides problems to be solved to edu-informatics. The field of informatics provides problem-solving method to edu-informatics. This figure shows another concept of edu-informatics. In Japan, education belongs to artistic discipline, and institutional research, statistics, machine learning, evidence-based research, and informatics belongs to scientific discipline. Informatics is interdisciplinary field between artistic discipline and scientific discipline. In the life science field, the International Human Genome Sequencing Consortium reported initial sequencing and analysis of the human genome in 2001 and finishing the eulomatic sequence of the human genome in 2004. The research involved various research methods since the human genome is about 3 billion base pairs. This means big data. Before human genome sequencing research, researchers only used phenotype research by experiments, referred it to hypothesis-driven research in life sciences. These figures show hypothesis-driven approach and data-driven approach. Hypothesis-driven methods involve the development of the hypothesis, and researchers perform experiments to confirm a hypothesis or not. If hypothesis is not confirmed, then researchers construct a new hypothesis and development a new experiment, and the cycle continues. Researchers had data on human genome sequence once the human genome sequence was established, which was completely opposite to the decision before. When researchers use the human genome sequence to construct hypotheses, it is called data-driven research. The hypothesis-driven approach and data-driven approach may look like two completely different methods. However, they are not. The hypothesis-driven approach develops new hypotheses based on data from experiments. Thus, hypothesis-driven approach is not easily separated from the data-driven approach. Moreover, hypothesis-driven approach and data-driven approach have a circular relationship. This slide shows the concept of data-driven education based on edu-informatics. Recently, ICT and LMS, we can collect the big data, and using edu-informatics, we can provide the data-driven education by evidence-based education or institutional research, IR, or learning analytics. Today, universities need to change how they manage their operations due to new challenges. In Japan, both national and private universities must now create strategic plans by law. However, the current way of planning has many problems. This is essentially important after COVID-19, where universities need to make quick decisions based on data. This study examines how universities can create better planning systems. We focus on two main points. First, how to handle today's management issue. And second, how to prepare for post-COVID-19 changes. We aim to find practical solutions by looking at data from Japanese universities. We go to next step. We conducted a comprehensive survey of Japanese universities. The survey targeted individuals responsible for midterm plans at whole Japanese universities, 816 universities. The response rate varied by institution type. National universities at 52.3%, public university at 42.2%, and private universities at 15.8%. Data was collected through a web-based system. Our survey revealed overwhelming support for data utilization in strategic planning. Out of all responses, 184 supported data usage, while only 3 were neutral. This shows that 98.4% of institutions recognize the importance of evidence-based planning in higher education. When asked about the importance of IR in strategic planning, most responsive rated it highly. Nearly 80% of institutions recognized IR as critical for effective planning. This demonstrates widespread acknowledgement of IR's role in transforming data into meaningful insight for strategic decision-making. Findings highlight the need to balance quantitative metrics with qualitative assessment. While data-driven approaches are crucial, universities must maintain flexibility in their evaluation method. This is particularly important in areas where numerical metrics alone cannot capture the full picture of educational outcomes. Conclusion. This is our conclusion. Looking back at our question, we found that universities need both data and flexible method. This mix helps them solve today's problems and prepare for future changes. Acknowledgement. JSPS Kakenhi Grant number 21K02609 supported this work.
Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Actually, this topic is completely new for me. Just I want to know one difference, that is the what is the difference between the evidence-based research and informatics? Is there any difference?
Yeah, so the data-driven approach is, I think, the new field, a new way, new wave of the research. So the I think the some case of the informatics, for example, the products or the something. In this case, the already researchers use the or recognize the data-driven approach, I think. But the for example, the life science in this case, in this field, so the it is new approach, I think.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And for example, can I speak again?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and so for example, in the higher education, the universities collect the data, the student data, using the LMS, learning management system, and in this case, the data was collected, but the IALA have to analyze using these data. So in this case, the data-driven approach, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Now, next up, I would like to call upon Ashok Kumar, sir, for presenting a study on insider threat prediction using machine learning techniques, a literature review.
Just a second. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Let me share my. Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is visible to us.
Thank you so much for confirming. Just start my print. Good evening, everyone. As per Indian time, I'm Ashok Kumar, a research scholar and Indian Air Force veteran, doing this research on insider threat prediction. During my service in Indian Air Force, the background of taking this topic was that despite having a disconnected network, as you know, all critical infrastructure network is not connected to the internet. However, we found certain virus which were available on internet. At the same time, they were available on our network. The scale is, yeah. So that was the genesis of choosing this topic, and we are more ahead. On this literature survey, literature review, I'll be presenting my topic, the objectives of this paper, the theoretical frameworks available, review of findings, their limitations, and finally concluding the paper. These are last few years' report which show that how potent is insider threat. Insider means somebody who is already a legal user of your network. He has got the username and the password, and he can access the network from anywhere. So if he turns rogue, or if he can be tricked, or if he can be compromised, that's the kind of damage. And last 5 years, 23-24 data is not available here. It is 1/3 of the total breaches are happening because of the insider turning rogue. The kind of damage it can cause, not only financial, it can sever your reputation. It can go on to any extent. There are cases in past wherein system administrator turned rogue, and the world leading company was on the verge of becoming bankrupt. It's a famous case of Gordon Phillip, Omega Gordon. The Omega was the company which was the largest watchmaker. System administrator, because of some human reasons, turned rogue, and he exfiltrated all the data and formatted the machines. At the same time, this insider threat is tough to detect because person is inside and it requires 72 to 85 days to detect. The indicators of, if system administrators become rogue, he can remove the system logs, and it's very difficult to detect. Most of the existing methods are reactive in nature. The attack has already happened. You are doing forensics and you are trying to fix up the blame. However, it doesn't work that way. With the traditional, with the methodologies available on machine learning, it is possible to prevent this insider attack using machine learning techniques. This literature survey is a small step in this direction. So understanding the insider threat is, there are primarily three kind of insiders. One is malicious insider, somebody who has been planted by, let's say, your competition, or somebody who turns rogue, or a negligent insider, somebody receives a mail, not aware of cybersecurity principles, despite implementing all kind of controls. He is, just by the greed or something, which is a human nature, he clicks on a link and his credentials are compromised. Accidental insider causes harm due to human error or system glitches. This could involve accidentally deleting data or misconfiguring system. Impacts of the insider threats are very many: financial, reputational, and operational impact. You can have a downtime, productivity loss, and project delays because of insider becoming a turncoat. We have to identify and categorize. Objective of this paper is to identify and categorize machine learning techniques for insider threat prediction, evaluate effectiveness of these techniques, identify research gaps and challenges. The theoretical frameworks available are CERT model developed by Carnegie Mellon University, which is the most effective, and it takes almost all the factors in consideration. The various publications have been issued by Carnegie Mellon University Department of Software Engineering Institute. So it talks about human, technical, and inclusive insider threat management program. However, other models, they talk about attacker models, wherein masquerader and traitor models for characterizing insider attacks. There are game theory models. The most effective model, as far as technical controls are concerned, is the anomaly detections. As we know, the hackers are evolving, threat actors are evolving. They will carry out attacks not in a routine fashion, which is easily detectable. They will find out ways and means wherein new way of attacks are carried out. Only way to find out these kind of attacks is that because of the anomalous behavior. And in subsequent slide, I'll talk about what defines anomaly. Machine learning for insider threat prediction is pattern recognition. Machine learning algorithms can identify patterns and anomalies from vast amount of data, enhancing detection accuracy. Adaptive learning. Machine learning models can adapt to evolving threats over time, improving their predictive capabilities. And so in such case, something similar attack takes place, models will be able to tell you that, yes, we are going in the wrong direction. Data analysis. Machine learning techniques analyze user activity, network traffic, emails, and social media to build predictive models. As they say, that whenever a disease is manifesting, it will give enough indications. Similar is the case of insider threat. Somebody turns rogue, it'll keep giving you analytics, keep giving you enough indications. So if we are carrying out data analysis through various feeds, then we will be able to have a good data to predict nicely in an accurate way. Baseline establishment. That is the most typical part. Just to give an example, that a person is supposed to be using Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or Excel in his office desktop. So when he tells or he installs application which is not required for his purpose, then it is an anomaly. Somebody who is supposed to be working in office 9 to, let's say, 5 o'clock in the evening, he logs in from home. Today, since work from home has become a very in thing, so 9 to after he logs on long duration for a late night, and the data filters out, then it is a deviation from the baseline. So there are certain rules which have to be made, and such rules are violated, then the alert is to be made. Machine learning technique for insider threat predictions or supervised learning. It is very useful when we have the label data to train algorithms for classifying new data points. Effective for identifying known type of insider threats, but may struggle with novel threats. As we said, it is best for the known kind of threats. Unsupervised learning, it uses unlabeled data to identify patterns and anomalies, particularly useful for detecting previously unknown insider threats through clustering and anomaly detection techniques. As we said, the hackers are evolving and they will keep adopting new techniques. Any previous techniques and procedures, they know that they'll be caught. Third part, which machine learning techniques we use for insider threat detection, reinforcement learning. They train an agent to interact with an environment and learn optimal actions. It has a potential applications in developing adaptive security systems that can respond to evolving threats. Specific algorithms for insider threat predictions are support vector machines, which are effective for classifications and anomaly detection. Random forest, it ensembles methods combining multiple decision trees to improve prediction accuracy and robustness effectively for both classification and regression tasks in insider threat detection. In recent past, neural networks, as the human brain works, they are very adept in learning and very quick in responding with higher accuracy. However, the big problem with them is they are very resource hungry. They are the most accurate which has been recently tested. So what data they use for analyzing insider threat prediction is computer logs, network traffic, physical access logs, personal records, psychological data, access anomalies, as we talked about, and behavioral indicators. Somebody sitting in office trying to change his job, or somebody looking at job sites, or trying to access an application which is of a competition, for example. These are the various behavioral indicators which, if we keep capturing, can give us a feel or give us an indication that there is something wrong is going to happen.
Excuse me, sir. I
Yes, ma'am.
apologize for the interruption, but I would kindly request you to adhere to the time limit that we have set.
Yeah, I'm just going to end with this.
Sure, sir.
These are the challenges in insider threat prediction. Nobody gives you the live data set, because live data set carries more of it carries more of secret information, right? There are false positives when we are not able to set the baselinings. Evolving threats we are not able to contain, and there are a lot of privacy concerns since we are going to monitor a lot of activities of the people. So with this kind of literature reviews, we'll be able to reach standardized data sets presently, which are available only in a synthetic data format. Transfer learning, contextual integration, and interdisciplinary collaboration will definitely help us in improvement of this insider threat predictions. Road ahead is integrated approach combining technical and behavior markers for more comprehensive threat detection, ethical considerations, balancing effective threat prediction with privacy and ethical concerns. And as the process continue evolve, as the attackers are evolving, the defenders also have to evolve. With this, these are few references which I mentioned for this literature review. I have finished, and in case you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer. I hope we are on time.
Rafat ma'am, do you have any questions? I repeat, Rafat ma'am. Okay, sir, I believe Rafat ma'am does not have any questions for you. Thank you for your great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to call upon Ki Sabathini Tugiana Tamunan to present their study on killing two birds with one stone, the study of user engagement influencing the job application process.
Of course, ma'am. I will be screen sharing. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am, and we can see your screen.
Of course. So hello, everyone. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ki Sabatani Togiana Tambunan. I'm a final year student majoring in business hotel management from Binus University, Jakarta, Indonesia. On this lovely day, I will be presenting our study titled Killing Two Birds with One Stone, the study of user engagement influencing the job application process. Now, as for the background, this research focuses on the hospitality industry, specifically the five-star luxury hotels in Jakarta, where the job application process plays a critical role in shaping candidates' perceptions of hotel brands. Employee engagement is a key driver of organization success, and our study aims to analyze how factors like perceived usability, perceived information, perceived service interaction, and satisfaction influences the engagement during the job process application. Now, for the objectives. The primary objective of the study is to analyze the relationship between perceived usability, perceived information, perceived service interaction, satisfaction, and engagement. Additionally, we aim to provide actionable recommendations for management to enhance engagement and satisfaction during the recruitment process. Now for the literature review. To build our framework, we reviewed existing literature dated back from 5 years on key factors. Perceived usability refers on how users-friendly the job application process is, which directly impacts satisfaction. Perceived information focuses on clarity and relevance of information provided to candidates, which boosts trust and engagement. Perceived service interaction examines how candidates perceive their interactions with management through the online application process, which can significantly enhance satisfaction and engagement. Satisfaction here acts as a mediator, linking all of the variables, usability, information, and service interaction to the dependent variable, engagement. Finally, engagement is the ultimate outcome, leading to better performance and lower turnover. This is the research framework. Now let's look at the research framework. Our study focuses on 5 key variables: perceived usability, perceived information, and perceived service interaction as the independent variables, engagement as the dependent variables, and satisfaction acts as the mediating variable that links the independent variables to the dependent variables. In simple terms, We wanted to see how the usability of the job application platform and the clarity of information and the quality of interaction with management affects candidates' satisfaction and ultimately their engagement within the organization. Now, based on this framework, we have developed 7 hypotheses. The first hypothesis is perceived usability directly affects engagement. The second hypothesis, perceived information directly affects engagement. The third hypothesis, perceived service interaction directly affects engagement. The fourth hypothesis, satisfaction directly affects engagement. We've also tested indirect effects through satisfaction. Hypothesis 5, perceived usability affects engagement through satisfaction. Hypothesis 6, perceived information affects engagement through satisfaction. And lastly, hypothesis 7, perceived service interaction affects engagement through satisfaction. After testing, we have found that hypotheses 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 were supported. Perceived information, perceived service interaction, and perceived satisfaction significantly affects engagement. However, hypothesis 1 and 5 were rejected, meaning perceived usability did not significantly impact engagement, either directly or through satisfaction. This suggests that while a user-friendly platform is important, this suggests the clear communication and positive interaction with management are far more critical in driving the engagement during the job application process. Now, the methodology. Our study collected quantitative data from 200 associates working in 5-star luxury hotels in Jakarta. We used the online surveys like the Likert scale, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree, to measure the variables. The data was also analyzed using the structural equation modeling, or as we all know, the SEM-PLS, to test our hypothesis. This SEM-PLS not only tests the previously mentioned hypotheses, but also analyzes the data. So why 200 samples exactly? Why is it so specific? Well, based on our indicators, that we have 20 indicators, which we will show on the next slide, it has to be 10 times the indicators to have the samples. And the minimum of that 20 indicators, so we have the current sample, is 200 samples collected. Now, the hypotheses. We've tested 7 hypotheses and 5 were accepted. Perceived information and perceived service interaction directly affects engagement, and satisfaction mediates these relationships. However, perceived usability did not significantly impact engagement, either directly or indirectly. Now, the results. The majority of our respondents were male at 59% and females at 41%, ranging between 25 to 34 years old. Our findings reveal that perceived information and perceived service interaction significantly affects engagement. Satisfaction also plays a mediating role, enhancing the relationship between information, service interaction, and engagement. Conclusively, our study highlights the importance of clear communication and positive service interaction in enhancing the engagement during the job application process. While user-friendly platforms are important, they are not sufficient on their own. Satisfaction plays a critical mediating role, and engagement should focus on holistic strategies to improve engagement. Now, the next one will be the implication. Our findings have several implications for management. Firstly, improving information clarity and fostering positive candidate interaction can significantly enhance engagement. Second, while user-friendly platforms are important, they should be complemented by other strategies to boost satisfaction and engagement. Now, as we all know, when we're doing a research paper, of course, we will have limitations. Whether we want it or not, there will still be limitations that are there. Now, our finding have several limitations to it. The limitations to this study are based on the geographical focus on Jakarta that may not represent the broader hospitality sectors in different regions of the world. Furthermore, the geographic location in Jakarta restricts the ability to generalize the conclusion across the diverse hotel types, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 stars, and cultural differences. Specifically targeting luxurious 5-star hotels in Jakarta, Indonesia, investigating how perceived usability, perceived information, and perceived service interaction, satisfaction, and engagement collaborates with each other. And for the recommendation, for future research, we recommend exploring long-term engagement and cross-cultural factors to gain a deeper understanding of these dynamics. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to take any questions available.
Rafat ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
No, dear. You can carry on.
All right. Thank you so much for your presentation, Key.
Of course,
Now I
thank
would
you.
like to call upon Juning Thang to present her study on revisiting communication theories in human-machine communication, the joint sense-making process between humans and machines.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, then I can share. Oh no, I cannot share my screen now because you are sharing. Okay.
Now can you share your screen?
Yes, wait for a second. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then I will start. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. And my name is Xuning Tang. I'm currently studying at the University of Amsterdam. And today I'm going to present my study here with you guys. Actually, it's also a literature review in which I will provide a very short review about the human-machine communication, so the HMC, about its background, research agenda, theoretical framework, as well as some prospects to future researchers. So today's presentation will be divided into these 4 parts. So first of all, what does HMC studies? In one word, the human-machine communication, or HMC, studies the joint sense-making process between intelligent machines and human beings. So it can be considered as a subdiscipline for the communication science. And the basic assumption behind the HMC is that the intelligent machines, instead of acting as traditional computers, which are more like some passive tools or media we use when communication, they now actually become an more independent or active social actor that can talk with us. And this is possible thanks to the advancement of technology such as the natural language processing, NLP, or natural language generation such as NLG, which actually enables those kind of machines to be able to understand and produce the messages in human language. And as a result, since the computers are now actually taking an active social role in the communication, we can also argue that the traditional ontological boundary between human and the machine agency is blurred. And this can have many implications for both the individuals and the society, which we will also reflect later. And another feature about HMC is that it is a very interdisciplinary field since it considers both the aspects for the humans. So it's more related to social science, like psychology, communication, or even law studies. But it also takes some insights from engineering disciplines such as like the computer science, artificial intelligence, or computational science. And HMC is a very latest discipline. So the latest research agenda of the HMC was published in 2019 by Goldsman and Lewis. So in the article, they argued that there are actually 3 aspects that the future researchers should look at. The first one is called the functional aspect. So basically, it's just to compare the human-machine communication with traditional human-human communication, because most of the existing frameworks and theories we have regarding the communication actually still is about human to human. So we want to see if we can apply these existing things to this new branch of study. And the second aspect is called rational aspect. So it actually focuses on how do people interpret their interaction with these machines? How do people understand and how do they feel when they are talking to like intelligent machines such as like AI chatbots or virtual assistants? And the third aspect is more metaphysical, abstract, and philosophical because it keeps on asking some ontological concerns, such as like what makes us human beings, what makes human intelligence unique, and what marks the difference between human intelligence and the artificial intelligence. And these kind of questions you can hardly find one word or one sentence to answer it. And it can also be very hard to just answer them using empirical study result. But it's also maybe a very important concern, I think, that maybe in most people's minds, and especially like if we want to drive a collaboration between humans and machines, these are also some questions we need to consider or considering. And besides what they have proposed in the paper, I also add another aspect called ethical aspect because I think this one is more practical and also more urgent. Because just besides the individual conversation we are focusing on, there should also be reflection on ethical and the legal implications. So how do these like new types of interaction actually affect our society? And by starting these kind of questions in detail, we can try to avoid the potential harms of the artificial intelligence and also try to foster a positive interaction and collaboration between humans and machines. And this part actually I will also reflect later at the end of the presentation. But first of all, let's first move on to some foundational framework of HMC to actually better understand what they are studying specifically. So one of the most foundational framework is called the CASA paradigm, or maybe like a computer as social actor. Actually, the main assumption is that the computers are like the social actors, and when humans are communicating with them, they will mindlessly adapt social norms or antiquity that they use to human beings in their interactions. So Gaza paradigm is actually not quite updated. It was proposed like almost 30 years ago by Reeves and Nass in the 1996. By that time, the computers were not so intelligent as we have today. But even then, like these researchers already spot a trend that like how people are making sense of this kind of computer. However, this is not always the case. There's two essential criteria. So first of all, the computers need to display enough social cues. And secondly, they need to be perceived as autonomous information source. So it cannot be like a search engine or something that you ask question, they give you information, but it has to be like an independent or autonomous entity. And through these 30 years, many empirical studies have been conducted to support the CASA paradigm. And some of the early studies was like conducted on like computers or laptops, but there are also like attempts to try to replicate this result on smartphones and even AI chatbots. However, like as we have just mentioned, since it was already like 30 years, things have changed a lot during this time, especially about today's media landscape. And also people are having more access to more intelligent machines than they were 30 years ago. So as a result, like there are also many voices to say that, yeah, we need to update this paradigm to stay in tune with today's development in technology. And one of these attempts is called the MASA paradigm. It was proposed by Lombard and Xu in 2020. In their study, they actually add more elaboration and emphasis on social cues. So they classify social cues into primary and secondary and argue that like they do not have the same impact on people's interpretation of machines. And they also like try to analyze from an aspect of like how humans are interpret the cues from the machines. And there's also like some more highlight on demographic and textual factors because not all people are having the same response. An example can be willingness to suspend disbelief. So some people maybe are more likely to suspend their disbelief when they're talking to a machines and assume that they're talking to a real person, while some people are not. And the picture on the right, it was actually published by the authors themselves to give you some example, also a clear view about like what are the examples of some factors they are mentioned in this article. However, like one thing or one key point about this paradigm is that it still maybe requires much empirical validation and spotlight from the scholar field, since until now, like most people are still like stick to the CASA paradigm. So there should be maybe more chances or more empirical validation to see if the MASA paradigm is also working. And then we move on to some behavioral and cognitive framework that was also like shaping these views. The first one I want to share is called the dual process model because it is also a very common model like in human-human communication. And the main assumption is that the individuals will process information in at least two distinct routes, a heuristic one and a rational route, also known as type 1 or type 2 process. So the type 1 process is like people are more depend on their like rapid or intuitive heuristics or more about the impression. But the type 2 process is more related to rational thinking, analysis, and also deep reflection. And the researchers in HMC believe that these two processes are also play an important role when people are communicating not just with humans, but also with machines. And there are also like assumption about like how these two type of rules are interacting. And the first assumption is that like you first form a quick impression by the social cues displayed by these machines, but then this impression will later be revised by more rational thinking or analytical thought. Or there's an assumption that actually the both process can take place simultaneously, or maybe like the type 1 process is not necessary to be, impulsive and intuitive, but there can be sometimes a logical type 1 process and a heuristic type 1 process. And the second concept in this field is called social presence. It's like a human projection or perception about how the machines are behaving. So machines are perceived to be more sociable, sensitive, and personal. And this factor has been demonstrated to have a very positive impact on people's acceptance and trust of intelligent machines. In one study, for example, people find that people are more likely to self-disclose in front of AI chatbots about their mental issues or psychological issues than towards like a human psychiatrist. And a study in the customer service also found that like when their AI agents are displaying more social cues, such as to have a very nice tone, to be very patient, and can provide the valid information as soon as possible, and all this make them more favorable towards the client. And some branch of study also study like the proximate relationship between AI and human beings. So some people are actually forming a kind of friendship with the artificial intelligence, with those like, for example, with ChatGPT, and sometimes even more than friendship. And this part I find like is quite interesting because I think it is very hard to apply existing communication theories to explain so why this is taking place, because we know that even though people are treating AI as social actors, they are still very different from real human beings. But then why do people are forming this kind of relationship? And what do they feel during this process? And there are a few qualitative studies that try to capture these concepts through some in-depth interviews, which I think that, yeah, they also have some big potentials in the future. But since it has a positive impact on people's acceptance and trust, then it is also a very important factor to drive the collaboration between humans and machines. So finally, based on like all we have discussed for now, what can we say about the future? So where can we head on? Here I'm providing like 3 suggestions. So first of all, as maybe you already noticed, all these kind of frameworks, they still play a more focused view on humans' perspective, so on humans' perception. However, I think that like since HMC started the joint sense-making process between machines and humans, we should not just look at the human side, but also about like how the machines are making sense of the society, how they are making sense of the conversation. And to do this, we actually need more insights from the engineering fields. And this can be done by, you can form a connection with experts in this field. So people who are working behind this algorithm, people who are building up this algorithm, and try to understand like what they are thinking about, like what are their concerns when they are working on this. Or maybe you can just look at algorithm yourself and try to understand what's going on. And there's also maybe need to be a breakthrough in the methodologies, because there are many new concepts in HMC than in the traditional human-human communication. So the lab experiment where we have a closed setting to test some existing theories may not be enough. And we need to have a deeper understanding of how human makes sense of AI. And this should be done like through more in-depth conversation, interview, focus group to extract those new concepts that may not exist before. And secondly, also to understand how AI makes sense of the society, as I already talked earlier is to maybe understand how the algorithm is working. There's a field actually called explainable artificial intelligence just to tackle these questions. So they want to make the algorithm as transparent as possible so that people can understand so how they like make up their decisions. And finally, it's about the ethical issue. Beyond interpersonal relationship, maybe more attention is needed on the societal and ethical implication. In the article, I listed a few examples, but here maybe to give a summary, this is actually a very hot topic in different fields. Some concerns people have now are first of all the privacy issue. So it's about the data privacy. Where does this data go? Like who has the ownership to the data? And the second thing is called micro-targeting. So these intelligent machines maybe are better at to predicting your hobbies, habits, and sometimes even personality. And all these traits can be used to target you, maybe to sell your products or even to sell you a type of ideas. And the third thing is called stereotypes. So it can be like gender stereotypes or social stereotypes. It is argued that input data we feed to these kind of intelligence machines are often biased because our society is biased. But machines do not know this, so they just provide an output that can maybe enhance such kind of stereotypes. And finally, like there's also a bunch of study that study whether the artificial intelligence is promoting the making or dissemination of misinformation. So yeah, that is the end of my presentation, and I hope you are also like more clear about the what HMC studies, and if you're interested and what you can do next about this field. Yeah, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, nice presentation. Just I would like to ask only one question that you are going to classifying the social flows. What is the criteria of classifying the social issues into primary and secondary? What is the criteria?
Um, yeah, it's just like it's more like assumption or hypothesis something because you cannot observe these rules. I mean physically because it's just assumption about how people are thinking about. But the main criteria is that whether you are using analytical thinking or not. Um, because like for the type 1 process, for example, like it's more about the heuristics. So it means something that is not related to rational thinking. So for example, if an artificial intelligence are having like human tones, a human voice, then that can be a social cue. And if you hear that, well, because that sounds quite like a human, so and you say, well, then maybe yeah, we treat it as a human. So this can be an example of a type 1 process. For type 2 process is more related to your critically evaluating the result provided by this, for example, chatbots. Instead of just focusing on some cues like a human voice, or if some of these even like social robots are having a human face, then this kind of like cues we consider it as a type 1 process, while more critical evaluation of the content we consider it more as a type 2 process. Is that clear?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jening, for your presentation. So now we reach the closing ceremony of this session, and I would like to sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough, and we, on behalf of whole team, thank you for the support during this 10th version and all the previous 9 versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 11th version in 2026. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICICT 25. I also thank our session chair, Dr. Rafat Samreen ma'am, for chairing the session, extending a token of appreciation on behalf of Team ICICT. And ma'am, I would also like to request you to share a closing remark for all the presenters that we have here today.
Okay. Definitely. Thank you once again, Dharani. It's a great pleasure of serving as your session chair today. And I would like to extend a huge thank to all our speakers for sharing their valuable research with us and their active participation. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And before we
Yes,
conclude the session, yes, ma'am.
Dhamini, just I would like to speak with the Mr. Ashok sir. Ashok Kumar sir is there.
Ashok sir, are you present here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm present there.
Yes, sir. Sir Ashok sir, actually your topic is completely related to my topic only.
Thank you, ma'am.
For this, uh, already I have written one paper on this insider attacker. My
Right, ma'am.
one of my paper is there. Passive monitoring of user updation is there. You can go through that one. And one more thing, if you are having any doubts regarding this one, you can mail me or you can contact me.
I'll
It
request
will
your
be
mail ID, ma'am. I'll take it from Ms. Patel.
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. Just you take it,
Yes.
my mail ID from this conference people, and you can mail me, sir. It will be great pleasure to help you regarding this one.
Thank
This
you
is my
so much, ma'am.
completely
Thank you
my
so much.
area only.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Now, before we conclude this session, I would kindly request you all to switch on the camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. I repeat, everyone, please turn on their cameras for 1 minute. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day ahead and take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.